Thanks for joining us. I'm Mitchell Ringos. The Thunder Bay Coalition to End Human Trafficking and Community Safety and Wellbeing Thunder Bay came together to host a free information session on Wednesday night to provide parents and caregivers information about human trafficking and how to talk about the issue with young people. Jessica Clement has the details.
Human trafficking is a growing epidemic in Canada, and Chris Carlson, co-chair of the Thunder Bay Coalition to End Human Trafficking, says it isn't something that just happens in the bigger cities.
Thunder Bay in 2017 was identified as one of the 6 major hubs in the province of Ontario. And one of the biggest things since 2018 that we've been hearing is that parents don't feel like they necessarily have the skills or know how to start the conversations.
To help combat this, the coalition, along with Community Safety and Wellbeing Thunder Bay, hosted an information session Wednesday night, which brought in dozens of parents and caregivers to the Kinsman Centre to learn about what human trafficking is and how to talk to youth about the issue. Carlson says they also touched on common misconceptions, how traffickers operate, and what the warning signs are.
You're going to see a sudden change in a young person's peer group. They might all of a sudden, pulling back from extracurricular activities that they really once enjoyed. They'll potentially have another phone. Their language is going to change. They're going to become a little bit more either really drawn into themselves, or they're going to become a little bit more aggressive.
The event featured various booths with information about local resources, and Deborah Dika, Executive Director of the Sexual Abuse Centre, says it's important for residents to know what supports are available to them.
There's Thunder Bay Counseling Centre, Thunder Bay and Area Victim Services, they're here, Beandigan, No Kiwin. So the coalition is made up of about 30 different agencies. Making that call, visiting our website will give you some information that someone's looking for, and then they can just go from there, right? What agency can help with what they need.
Amanda Pettis is a parent in her 3rd year of social work at Lakehead University. She says she came out to learn more about the epidemic to become a better advocate in the community.
What we want to know is the truth, not just the statistics, but how we can make a difference in our community, and in order for us to bring it forward to other classmates and those that we run across in our everyday lives as well as our work.
To learn more about human trafficking in the city and local resources, you can go online at humantraffickingthunderbay.ca. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
While the national inflation rate has been easing over the past few months, there's no sign food prices will stop rising anytime soon. The latest stats show since January of last year, food prices have increased by more than 11%, and food banks here in Thunder Bay are noticing a jump in those using their services. Since January of 2022, the RFDA has seen an unprecedented 25% increase in their food delivery service and a 12% bump across the board. Officials say food inflation is also causing many across Thunder Bay to use food banks for the first time. Community Services Manager Brendan Carlin says high prices are affecting them beyond just those they serve.
Affects everybody, so it affects people who are donating. It affects people who usually give money and maybe can't give as much this year. So we apply to grants, we find alternate sources of food, transporting it here, paying for transportation, which is cheaper than buying food. So we've been creative, but soon it's going to get pretty hard.
Anyone looking to help out the RFDA can donate food at their main location or food banks across the city. This past week, the province announced that $2.2 million was earmarked for Thunder Bay through the municipal gas tax program. This year's funding includes additional money to make up for reduced gas sales during the pandemic, with a local MPP confident this will help the city. The dollars are calculated as a percentage of gasoline sales across the province. It's a similar figure to last year and will support city buses and other transit programs. Thunder Bay Atikokan MPP Kevin Holland explains how this funding will support the average person in the city.
Help the city to maintain their operations and help keep those costs down for the users of the system. So, any money that's coming into the city is obviously a benefit. So, the city has used these funds in the past very effectively, and I have no doubts they're going to continue to make the most out of it.
Other communities across the region also received support, including Kenora, Fort Francis, Greenstone, and Atikokan. A new facility in Sioux Lookout is offering a 12-week residential treatment program for First Nations youth. The very first cohort to move into the Pelican High Peak Youth Healing Lodge is going through the program now. Lee Noonan has more.
The Pelican High Peak Youth Healing Lodge offers a 12-week residential treatment program for youth aged 12 to 17 who are struggling with mental health or addictions or who simply want to develop life skills. Evan is one of the first group of boys who moved in on January 9th.
I love the people. I made lots of positive relationships with my peers and staff.
Each of the residents has their own room in the 6-bed facility. The program is open to youth from anywhere in Nan Territory, although they'll also consider applications from other areas.
So we have a pretty strict routine. They wake up at 8 a.m. We have morning smudge and circle at 9 a.m. And
the jam-packed days at the lodge include counseling and class lessons, arts and crafts, and a significant helping of cultural activities.
Current civilization is very European-based and stuff like that. And that's a different mindset than how traditional people and Anishinaabe people think, and they have a different way of connecting with the world around them. So I think that's very integral into their healing and helps them to expand who they are too.
We've been learning about our culture, and we made dream catchers, ribbon shirts, drums. We also practice on the big drum.
When they aren't busy with scheduled activities, residents at the lodge have access to music, games, and the house dog, Lady, to keep themselves entertained. The program is voluntary, and not all the youth chose to stay the full 12 weeks, but staff say they're seeing real progress with those who are sticking it out.
I asked them the other week, what do you want to be when you grow up? And their answers compared to when they first got here are extremely different. So they have identified some goals in life, and seeing them smile compared to when they first got here is definitely something I recognize in them as well.
They're showing a keen interest in learning how to sing, I guess, and specific songs and things like that. They want to take back and utilize for their own benefit too. So there's a lot of different things, and we've still got a long way to go yet. So there's a lot of things I can still teach them and share with them, and I'm looking forward to continuing that process with them.
Evan says he's had a good experience at Pelican High Peak, and that any other youth who might be interested in the program should try it out.
It's really fun. It's a new experience. You get to learn a lot.
Evan and his cohort are set to graduate from the program here on March 29th, with the next cohort, a group of girls, moving in April. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
To raise money for a good cause, Thunder Bay correctional officers were out at 3 local Pet Value stores today for their annual Correctional Cares event. For the past 4 years, the correctional officers have been able to raise money for various rescues and shelters around the city, and this year is no different. Officers were selling cupcakes, pupcakes, and cookies at each Pet Value store, with all proceeds going towards Thunder Dog Rescue, Murillo Mutts, and Thunderbird Raptor Rescue. At the Golf Links Road location, visitors had the chance to meet and hold a Harris hawk from Thunder Bay Raptor Rescue. Correctional Officer Dana Bruno says they're glad to be able to go out in the community and raise money for the rescues.
It's great to get out of the institution, get together, fundraise for these wonderful rescues, and it's for the rescues. It's a great time for them, and I know some of them this is one of their only means of fundraising, and some of them have more fundraising than others.
Residents took advantage of today's sunny weather by participating in this week's Winter Fun Day activity, this time at Chapels Park. Attendees were invited to bring their snowshoes or rent out a pair on site to explore the great outdoors by snowshoeing through the different trails at the park. The event gave families the chance to enjoy nature and catch a view of the wildlife living around the area. The Thunder Bay Museum was also on site, providing take-and-make frozen bird feeder crafts, and while on their walk, attendees were encouraged to find different items in nature to decorate their feeders. Community program developer Jennifer Bullock says they want to give residents this chance to explore places in the city they haven't before.
We have so many great trails and accessible nature areas to explore in Thunder Bay, and most of them are within city limits. We're very lucky in that sense. So it's great for us to be on locations at different sites to get people out and exploring different areas of the cities and parks that we have.
And you won't want to miss next week's Winter Fun Day activity at Minnesota Park from 2 to 4 p.m. The event will be joined by Science North with some winter science fun. We're now joined by sports anchor Vasilios Bello. We're talking curling now. Obviously, Krista McCarville losing last night, not going straight to the final, having to play a semifinal against Team Canada. The question was, could they beat them this year?
It was going to be tough because they were playing the team that bumped them last year in the Scotties, and so far a very impressive tournament, but it was do or die today. We'll have the full highlights after the break.